tune-up for the Senators in a Battle of Ontario season finale from the Canadian Tire Centre and the nation's capital on Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey. Here tonight, Dennis Hildeby will be the starting goaltender for the Maple Leafs. He makes his first start since mid-January. He'd won 3 of 4, being sent to the Marlies. It's his first career start against Ottawa. James Reimer began the season on a PTO with Toronto. He makes his 13th start of the season for Ottawa, 4-1-1 at his last 6. The Sens resting a lot of their stars, with Dylan Cousins in the lineup for his 82nd game. He has 5 points against the Maple Leafs this year. And the only player for Toronto to play all 82 is 35-year-old John Tavares, and on a roll of late with 16 points in his last 12. Starting lineups brought to you by Molson. Molson, everyone in. And Gary Galley, the Senators, starting what will likely be their 4th line in the playoffs, and a 4th line that can really be a difference maker. Here's Fabian Zetterlund in. That's off Hildeby, centered by Lars Eller and Warren Foegele. That's a line that looks like it's tailor-made for the postseason.
Well, we all know that when you get into the playoffs, you know, you got to be able to run 4 lines, and that 4th line is not just an energy line. It's got to get out there. It's got to maybe create a little bit of offense for you. It doesn't have to create a lot, but it can hurt you, and it's got to create a lot of energy, and that line does that, and they've been productive as well.
Nick Cousins inside his own line, swings it to the right side, looking for Hayden Hodgson. Benoit for McCabe, who starts the night tied for the league lead with shot blocks of 188. And Noah Dobson out. He is tied for the lead, and Dobson is out with an injury, so one more will likely do it for McCabe to win that category. Here's Shane Pinto working into the Leaf zone. Morgan Riley is there and swings it across for Troy Stetcher. Trouble with that. There's Claude Giroux on the scene. Another one of the Greybeards playing 82 games. And a chance here, and Hildeby turns aside. Giroux. Morgan Riley looks ahead, trying to get it to Luke Hames, the Ottawa native, playing in his 4th game. And 3 of them quite eventful, Gary, as he plays his first NHL game against the Islanders, a first home game, and now a first game in his hometown.
Well, a little fine-tuning here for the Ottawa Senators as they get ready to slide into Carolina on the road and see if they can't do some damage. And the veteran Claude Giroux, how important was it for him to get his team into the playoffs? And, you know, when you're getting up in age like he is, there's only so many playoff runs you're going to have an opportunity to be on, and he's looking forward to it.
101 postseason games. Keys to a W are brought to you by J.P. Wiser's, the perfect Canadian whiskey for game night.
Well, for the Leafs, forecheck with a purpose. The one thing you want to do with all the injuries and the defensemen that the Ottawa Senators, the high-end players, are sitting out on their back end, it might be a little dicey back there. So let's get some good, solid forechecks, some good dumps so you can get a chance to get in, get some physicality. For the Sens, simple, rinse and repeat. They're 4-0-1 in their last 5. They've been on a roll since the Olympic break. Just keep playing the same way, and as Travis Green puts it, play the right way.
What a run they've been on. 20 wins, 6-4 in the final 30. The vault into the wild card spot in a playoff matchup against the Carolina Hurricanes, which will start on Saturday. Here's Ekman Larsson reversing the puck to William Villeneuve. Former St. John's Sea Dogs, same junior team that produced Thomas Chabot. Matias Maccelli works his way to center, lost the puck. Warren Foegele's on it. Sends Zetterlund in. Fabian Zetterlund, and he got disrupted by Benoit, looking to pass it across for Eller. And no shot on a 2-on-0. Here's Zetterlund, back to Foegele. Zetterlund takes it, plays it to Artem Zub. That shot vacuumed up by Hildeby.
Well, a turnover by Michelli out in the neutral zone. Those are dangerous turnovers, critical positions on the ice, where once you turn it over, there's nowhere you can regroup. You can see the change that was going on over at the Leaf bench. So now Benoit's got to make up some ground, and what a nice defensive play and not taking a penalty. Benoit disrupts the stick of Zetterberg, who's got 4 goals in his last 4 games. Kind of got a bit of a hot stick, but you got to give Benoit credit. He got that long stick in there, disrupted it, and didn't take a penalty.
Pinto against Domi on this face-off and wins it back to Lassie Thompson. And that's off the stick of Robertson and out of play.
And for the Maple Leafs, you know, I agree with a lot of people what they've said. You know, for the fans, a chance to see some young players getting their first reps as professionals here in the organization. A chance for Craig Berube to evaluate his team even in a game that's a nothing game. I mean, you play the right way. Like, he says the same types of things that Travis Green does. Respect the game, respect your teammates, go out and give a good solid effort. You certainly don't want to have what happened in Columbus last night.
Well, Rick Bowness making headlines, that response. There's Lassie Thompson working his way in, and Hildeby stops that.
Well, Lassie Thompson, one of those guys that got up and played some games with Ottawa for a lengthy period of time, but now over the last couple of years has spent most of the time down in Belleville. He's a mature player. He's been around the game a while. What a nice little move there on Robertson. And then get it to the net. You've got Pinto in front of the net. You got Hodgson going to the net. So don't waste them there. Put the puck there and make Hildeby make a save and not bleed a rebound.
Boy, they've tested the depth of the Ottawa blue line. The big injuries on the back line. Jake Sanderson, Thomas Chabot, 13 different blue liners have played for Ottawa this year.
Jensen, Clavin, I mean, it goes on and on. Losing those guys, that is a credit to the system that they're playing and the coaching staff that's implemented it here.
Dennis Gilbert, another. He bumps it behind the net for Eller. Back to Gilbert. That loose puck picked off by Stetcher, given away. Zetterlund's got a look. And Hildeby a stop with traffic in front of the net. Eller crashed the goal mouth, but unable to find the loose puck. Up ahead, Zetterlund may have a step here on Morgan Riley in a sharp angle chance. Another chance, and Dylan Cousins had a close call there. Boy, Zetterlund's had about 3 looks in the opening 5 minutes.
Has he ever? I mean, I think that's the kind of player they felt he could be when they acquired him. He was a guy they figured could score some goals and could get in on a forecheck, could be a dangerous player. And he struggled a little bit when he first arrived here, but I think his last probably month and a half, 2 months, you're seeing the best of Zetterlund. And it's all about turnovers, right? We talk about turnovers and puck management. We saw Michelli turn one over, and then right here, this pass to Tavares is not in the right spot. It goes right through his legs. And good job by Zetterlund to be forechecking back through the back-checking, back through the middle of the ice, because when that turnover happens, he's in the best offensive position. It's an unfortunate play. Stetcher's trying to break out of his zone. Clean exits rely on 1 or 2 good passes to get out of your zone. And if you miss them, boy, they're in a tough spot.
Here's Quillen with a shot. That went off the skate of the linesman who's on the limp. That's Matt McPherson. As it's brought in by Drake Batherson, tried to swing a backhand pass across. Didn't reach the target. Stephen Halliday centering this line. Giroux shot, blocked by Quillen. Has another chance. Look back door for Batherson. Pressure by Ottawa. That pass broken up. Taken along the boards by Ekman Larson. He wins the battle. Continues to fight for the puck, and off the boards to the line. Pass Zubin out. Giroux deflecting that down right on to Dennis Hildeby. Hildeby Benoit. McCabe. Luke Kames overskates that puck and then upends Cousins. Penalty pending. Drop past Ridley Craig, and McCabe with the touch-up. And Luke Kames, the former West End Wolverine from Ottawa, headed to the penalty box.
Ottawa is doing a really solid job of really blocking down the neutral zone, and as Toronto tries to get out of their end and in through the neutral zone to build speed up, Ottawa keeps jamming it, and that time McDermott jam it, Cousins picked it up, and there you see the stick of Hames as he tries to drop it to not take the penalty, gets caught up in the feet of Cousins, and down he goes, and the Senators will have the first power play. A power play that's been running pretty good the last 5 games, almost 50%.
Yeah, running hot. 7 of their last 15, 2 for 8 against Toronto, and a hot shot there turned aside by Hildeby, who's been into this game and busy in the opening 6 minutes. Jordan Spence gets it back from Giroux. Matthew Nyes and Steven Lorentz, the penalty killers for Toronto. The centering pass scores. Drake Batherson's got the goal, and Ottawa has the lead.
Well, I mentioned Allen, power play has really been on a heater of late going into the playoffs. That is a good thing. 5 right-handed shots all on the ice here for the Ottawa Senators. So they work it off Giroux's side. And this is a nice little shovel pass. And all Batherson has to do is just bring the heel of the stick forward and just open it up a little bit to get it elevated. And he does a real nice job of it. And he buries that into the back of the net. That's his 13th power play goal of the season, which ties Dylan Cousins for the team lead.
And 30th power play point. Drake Batherson now with 149 career goals. Here's Fogle with the steal and sending that wide of the net. So Giroux and Spence draw assists on the Batherson goal. And 6:04. It's Drake Batherson's 3rd of the season head-to-head against the Maple Leafs, and normally we'd be headed to commercial, but a classy gesture here by the Ottawa Senators, who are going to salute the retiring voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Joe Bowen, in the building for his last call.
What a chance, and now here's a breakdown for Dadonov. He's in a goal! Scores! The Ottawa Senators explode off the bench. And hustling into the attack is Cousins. Cousins in! Scores! Off the shoulder of Stolars. Comes to the line, not out. Long shot, scores! Jake Sanderson. A bit of a seeing eye shot from the point. And we will have a Game 5 in Toronto.
Tonight, Joe Bowen is broadcasting the final game of his 44-year career. While the Battle of Ontario is fierce, the Ottawa Senators organization would like to extend a congratulations to Joe and wish him the best in his next chapter. Holy Mackinac!
Great stuff, and a standing ovation for Joe here in this building. He probably never expected that. Kind of fun, Gary, that they'd also pick out all those Ottawa goal calls. But,
Yeah,
that's the Battle of Ontario.
Oh, did you notice that? Like, you're not going to let that just slide in. But congratulations, Joe. What a, a voice that you've just, just synonymous with hockey and obviously with the Maple Leafs, and so beloved and does such a wonderful job over so many years, and we've been really fortunate to have him. And look at that broadcast booth right there. That's a lot of history there. Just discard Ralphie on the left, though.
A former Ottawa 67.
Absolutely. Super guy, and one of the funniest guys I've ever met.
Well, we wish Joe well over 3,800 games called. And a few Ottawa Senator goal calls. And Dylan Cousins trying to spring Ridley Gregg from a sharp angle. And Hildeby gets a piece of that. Gregg able to recover that against Morgan Riley. Dylan Cousins sends it back to the line. Matt Paolo returns it. Heavy traffic in front of Hildeby, who got bumped there. Gregg was on the doorstep.
What's noticeable, CC, is the pace of Ottawa. The one thing they want to do is go into the playoffs playing the same way they've been playing. They don't want to come into this game and slow down at all, so they're playing at a really high pace, and Toronto's just got to build up to it here.
Here's Domi with the test of James Reimer, who hangs on.
Check out 3-goal early payout brought to you by Bet365. When your team goes up 3, you get paid. It's that simple. Download the app today. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Well, that's the one thing if you're Travis Green and you're talking to your team, you're like, you know what, guys, let's don't let off the pedal at all here. Let's finish this season off on a good note and head into the playoffs and head down to Carolina. It's going to be a great series. I mean, I think these two teams are very similar, and they have both teams that forecheck extremely well, both teams with a lot of pace to their game. It's going to be a great series, and it usually comes down to goaltending.
I was thinking when you mentioned the pace of the Ottawa Senators, that's a calling card of Carolina and kind of mirror image teams.
Well, it's something that, first of all, you want to build a team that's good in all three zones, right? And in order to be good in all three zones, you have to play a game that has some pace. You got to exit your zone quickly, good passes. You got to hit that neutral zone. You got to be able to get speed through that neutral zone to back off your defenders. And then you got to have offensive zone presence. You got to get on pucks, win 50-50 puck battles. Carolina and Ottawa do very similar things. So it's going to come down to who executes the best of their game plan and their structure. And again, who gets the best goaltending. You know, you got that three-headed monster possibly in Carolina. And that's not going to be the case here in Ottawa. It's going to be Linus Ullmark.
Ullmark with 4 wins in a row to end the year. Hodgson will roll it back down into the Leaf zone. In the early going, over about 2.5 minutes of possession time in the offensive zone for Ottawa. 22 seconds for the Maple Leafs. And it's back down in the Leaf zone. Morgan Riley took it away from Hodgson, trying to bank it out to center. Robertson was on the move, gets it to Domi. Here's Max Domi in, and that shot is muffled by Zoo. And Cousins hands it off, and Ottawa will regroup in their own zone with Lassie Thompson. Up for Giroux. Chased back by Benoit, taken away by Tavares, and a pass for Nylander. And Dean Driver makes his toughest stop so far. Back to McCabe. William Nylander on 399 career assists as that puck fired across in front of the net. Now Batherson, the Ottawa goal scorer. Back across to Spence, and he'll get it deep. Right on. And a loose puck, and Halliday chipped that over the net. On it is Nylander. Easton Cowan, who played over 20 minutes against Dallas. Third time he's been over 20 this season, as he has had a heavier workload down the stretch. Matias Maccelli to the Ottawa line, rolls it deep. Steven Lorentz is after it. Gets a hit in on Gilbert, but out comes Ottawa. It's Lars Eller, another playoff great here, to roll it down into the lead zone. Ekman Larsson up ahead. Maccelli on the tape, and it glances off the stick of Lorentz, following up his Hames. He'll play it across, and Maccelli. Hames helps out to keep it alive. Now Paolo takes a bump. Worked ahead for Fogle. And here comes Zetterlund once again. 1-on-3. Fabian Zetterlund sends it around. Willen battling for a loose puck, and Ryan Swerberg, who played his NHL debut Monday against Dallas. 9 minutes and 4 seconds of work in his first NHL game. Kept in by Zoom. Morgan Riley jostled along the board, zoomed into the glove of Hiltonby. So past 10 minutes of this opening period, and Stephen Halliday with a chance.
This period brought to you by Scotiabank. Learn how to earn up to $700 at scotiabank.com/special offer.
Do you mind if I ask you a question? What do you make?
Well, apparently the average person makes 6 friends a year, makes 7 jokes a day, and makes about 19 people blush. We'll make 1.4 babies. Make sense of that math. On average, you make a life that is by no means average. And then you make a mean grilled cheese. Scotiabank. You're richer than you think.
Subway Cyber Sundays are here, so we baked up a fresh deal. Buy 1 footlong, get 1 free with $0 delivery fee. That's right, but don't wait. This offer ends April 26th. Use the code to save on this Subway digital exclusive.
That swordfish won me the tournament.
I once had an 8-leg parlay. An octopus, if you will. Came down to a game in Detroit. The team came out hot, and yet they capsized late. Oh, not to worry. With Bet365 early payout, being up 3 goals is all you need to sail into the sunset, my boys.
Get paid out early with Bet365.
Kings Flames Thursday on Sportsnet 1.
It's a rare year where the Ottawa Senators are headed to the playoffs, but the Maple Leafs aren't. We mentioned the last Battle of Ontario that was the case, was all the way back in 2015. Let's take a look, though, at who has had the most playoff success in the last 30 or so years. And yes, it's actually the Ottawa Senators punching their ticket this year. That is 18 trips to the playoffs. The Montreal Canadiens shortly behind them was 17, and then the Maple Leafs was 16. This rivalry hasn't exactly favored the Sens lately, but they've been there for the dance a lot, guys.
Boy, I remember that 2015 run, Andrew Hammond. How about going 21-2 down the stretch to get them into the postseason that year? Stanley Cup finalists in 07, and of course Edmonton finalists the last 2 years. 3 teams back in there again looking to end the drought. Nylander kicking it back for Benoit. McCabe redlining in. Tim Cowan looking for it. Tried to get it across for Tavares, doesn't work. Thompson with an outlet. Halliday up at center ice, and it's spun to Batherson with a step. Batherson tried to cut in and got checked by Ekman-Larsson. Back the other way, Matthew Nyes will roll it deep. He had a pair of assists in the game against Dallas. Another wild one for the Leafs, and here's a chance for Jordan Spence. Dropping it, Giroux fired that, and looks like Hillary just got a piece. Spence again, turning away from Domi. Across to the other side, down low, and a little chip deflection, and that goes high. Batherson parks in front. Max Domi up with it, and an outlet for William Milner. Fired in off the inboard. Leafs losing 6-5 against Dallas. They'd given up 4+ in 8 consecutive games. Vogel chased back, hounded by Hames. Now up ahead, past Eller, and well, they're going to wave icing. Matthias Michelli turns away from Eller. Morgan Riley ahead. That's dropped to the Leaf line, and now Michelli works his way in. Turns away from Hames. Spins on Eller. Matthias Michelli sends it across, and Reimer gets a glove on that. Chipped back for Benoit, and turned aside by James Reimer. Back to Benoit. Shot fired right on. A Jake McCabe blast. And flipped back out to center by Spence. Seven minutes remaining in the opening period. A power play goal by Drake Batherson. And now a lead feed, Ridley Drake. Unable to reach that. The Keeg pass knocked down. He'll get it once again. Michael Pezzetta in for Calle Yarncroke, who wasn't able to play game 82 with an injury. Here's Villeneuve moving up. Jacob pulling behind the net, scored his first NHL goal against Dallas. Back to the line and across for Ekman-Larsson. He's shot blocked. McDermott in the shooting lane, and now Ekman-Larsson plays it past him. Korberg turning up top, and then lost the puck. And away goes Thompson. Lassie Thompson in, and that's deflected into the glove of Hildeby.
Oh, some offensive zone time for Toronto. They had 3 shots on net, and a lot of it had stemmed from Michelli along the blue line. Nice set of hands as he dangles across, stops up. He's going to buy some time to get everybody into the zone, and when you get everyone in the zone, you get some options. He walks across. He's going to lay this one out. And here's the boomer, the shot right there from McCabe, and then in comes Lorentz and the good 50-50 puck battle. That's how you create more shots in the offensive zone. You got to get those 50-50 puck battles, get guys on the puck quickly, and they ended up with a couple more shots after that.
Mentioned the Senators 26-4 in the last 30. The #1 defensive team in the league over that time.
They don't give up a lot. They really don't. I mean, they don't give up a lot of shots. They don't give up a lot of high-end chances. They're a really stingy team.
And a goal differential, #1 at +37 over that 30-game stretch. Dean Pinto, he's shot just wide. And Tavares unable to reach that to get it out. Kept in, and Hodgson in deep along with Nick Cousins. Fires it around to the near side. Spence in front, and Pinto is stopped by Hildeby. Had to be sharp on that. Nice set up by Spence, and now Giroux will pound it back in. After it, Halliday unable to get control of the puck. Robertson looks ahead, eyes across. Regroup from Stetcher to Riley. Morgan Riley missed Robertson with the pass. He'll try and track it down, and play called on the offside.
Well, the one thing Ottawa does do extremely well is they will go to the net. They'll go to the net hard, and they get their sticks down, and good job getting these pucks, funneling them to the net. Pence to the net, and then good deflection right there at the net by Pinto. And the goal tonight by Batherson was in tight on a nice deflection. Yes, it was a power play goal, but the Senators score a ton of goals, 34 of them to be exact, within 5 feet of the net. That's first in the National Hockey League. And good teams go to the net hard. They've got some big bodies that can get in there, and once you get the puck into that hash mark to net area, it's just a matter of winning the battles down in there, and you get some good opportunities to score some goals.
It's an icing call against the Leafs, not offside. They took it all the way back into the Leaf zone. Well, they've got to wait for Domi to clear, and it's sent in by Robertson. Up ahead, deflected right on goal by Cousins, and Hildeby covers that up.
Check out 3-goal early payout brought to you by Bet365. When your team goes up 3, you get paid. It's that simple. Download the app today. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Hildeby, one of those guys that when he was up and playing, he was playing really, really well. And eventually, once they got healthy in the back, in between the pipes, he went out. But Craig Berube talked about how well he was playing, and he really wanted to get him back up here and in one more game for the season.
Skip forward.
Be interesting next year. He won't be able to slide through waivers, and will he be a bigger part of the Maple Leafs next year?
Well, when you look at
many questions
when
here.
you look at the questions, you know, I mean, it's going to take time to find the answers, I think, and there's a lot more questions than answers, but certainly the health of their goaltending and the inconsistency of their goaltending was a factor for sure. I mean, you can talk about Marner and the fact that he's not here. That affects a lot.
Ekman Larsson back. Michelli sends it right on. Both teams lead the league in deploying 5 different goaltenders this season. Along the boards, it's Villeneuve. Sends it in behind the net. Ottawa gets on that, and that's whipped down the ice, and this will be icing Ottawa.
I mean, it's like, did you ever really address the loss of production that you were going to get from trading a guy like Marner? You know what I mean? That's, you know, yeah, you bring in Roy, you bring in Joshua, you bring in some gritty sandpaper guys, but you take out a ton of production in a guy that operates on your power play, your penalty killing, and also, you know, his chemistry and his connection with Matthews. All that is a huge effect. I know it's just one player, but it can do a lot.
That face-off, Stetcher had a chance. He'll battle along the inboards with Vogel. Troy Stetcher trying to put it in front. Good stick by Reimer. Comes back to Riley. Across to Nylander. Nylander checked on the play and settled him, put that into the Ottawa bench. Game 82. And the fourth and final installment of the Battle of Ontario.
Play.
Brewers, tomorrow on Sportsnet.
Between the pipes for both these organizations, it has been a full stable. It has been a roller coaster ride. As you look at the number of goaltenders, 10 to be exact, that have played for these two teams, 5 each, and certainly the headlines on a lot of days were regarding how the goaltending was going, who was going to be in the nets. And for Ottawa, it's amazing the position that they're in with the struggles they had at times, and then the solidifying that when they decided to pick up James Reimer as a veteran backup for Allmark. And Allmark's transition in the past month and a half, 2 months, he's been really good for Ottawa after leaving with the leave of absence. So things have turned around for Ottawa in the net.
William Villeneuve at the line. That pass comes out. Late offside. Ottawa moves the puck up ahead. That's an offside. At the Toronto line. Well, James Reimer, I mentioned, was in a preseason game for Toronto and got lit up late in the game by the Red Wings to the point where when it was all said and done, the Red Wings all went to Reimer, a former teammate, to shake his hands as if they thought the career might be over.
Oh, not dead yet.
And I asked him about it today. Did you think at that point it might have been? And he said, no, all part of the plan. I kept busy, kept ready. I just knew that somewhere in the league, somebody was going to need a goaltender. Went to the Spengler Cup to stay sharp.
It's like Ovi waving off the Benz the other night.
Yes.
Hey, not done yet. Don't push me out yet.
He wasn't sure the Red Wings were really saying, nice career, but he mentioned that Dylan Larkin's a good guy, and had some words for him at the end of that. But
you look at what happened with Jonathan Quick the other night. It's a real nice thing that teams do. They know when a guy is playing his last game, and it's nice that they do that.
Here's Halliday working in, and a Hudson shot turned away by Hildeby. Back to the line for Zub. Here's Artem Zub putting it through. High volume shot period again for Ottawa. Under 2 minutes remaining here in the opening period. Swung in front of the net by Pinto. Cleared by Riley. Tipped in at the line by Cousins. Pinto after it again. Working against Stetcher. In to help out Nick Cousins. It pops loose, and away goes Steven Lorentz. Red line it in. Michelli looking for a puck. Following up Ames for Michelli. Trying to twist away from Zub. Cousins works Lorentz over. Ames gets it back for the Maple Leafs. Here's Ames in front for Michelli. And chopped to the corner. Helmet comes off Cousins. And the penalty is upcoming.
Yeah, Zub's going to head to the box as that puck got scrambling around the front of the net. Zub kind of grabbed on, latched on, and there's the penalty. And with 1 minute and 7 seconds left, the Maple Leafs will have an opportunity to tie this thing up here before they head into the locker room. You can see the front of the net, the little battle that's going on, and as Michelli tries to kind of get moving to his left, I think Zub's got a hold of his arm and his stick in there. That's enough for the referee, and he'll sit for 2 minutes or less. And talked about the Senators' power play on fire. Leafs' power play is pretty much the same.
Yeah, in fact, it's identical. Batherson gives Ottawa their 8th power play goal in 16. The Leafs are 8 of their last 16. And this power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towel. Power through tough messes and so much more. The Leafs, who were near the bottom for most of the first half of the season, have climbed to 15th on the power play.
It's hard because usually when your power play is lighting it up like that, you're winning hockey games, right? And of late, they've been lighting it up on the power play, but unfortunately, they haven't been putting up wins in the win column.
Well, if I told you a team had the 15th best power play, the 5th best penalty kill, well, what a great play this is, and knocked down there. It was Vogel knocking down a pass waist high and ending up with a shorthanded breakaway. Nice to the line. Can't get it to Nylander. Turn back. And the clock will run out in this opening period. But first a look at that shorthanded chance for Warren Foegele.
Oh, a quarterback to wide receiver. This is a launch over the top of everything, and it was the referee was right there to see the stick was down low enough, and Foegele tries to go 5-hole. Matt Paulo just airmails this, and Ekman Larsson can't get it out of the air, and great soft hands that knock it right down in front of you by Foegele. And Hildeby, that's a big save.
Shots 14-6, Ottawa in the opening period. Batherson on the power play with his 33rd from Giroux and Spence at 6:04. So 1-0 after one here in the nation's capital. Time for the first intermission. Here's David Amber.
Where tonight's game doesn't have much meaning for the Sens. It's a big one for the Leafs. You might actually see a Leafs fan fist pump a Senators goal, because a loss tonight would lock the Leafs into 5th last in the league and give them a 24.5% chance of keeping their 5th overall pick. Also, an 8.5% chance to get the 1st overall pick. That is the best case scenario for the Leafs. But enough with crunching the numbers. Let's actually run the lottery simulator. Let's do it for ourselves. We're going to run it 5 times for you, and let's see the result. That is a good result. They stay in 5th there. They jump up to 2nd there. Leaf fans would love to see that. That's not so great. They do slide into 6th there. That would be an amazing result for the Maple Leafs getting 1st the 2nd time they slide. So it's about a 44% chance so that the Maple Leafs, if they lose, would end up giving their pick away to the Boston Bruins. They do have some good odds, though, to move up, maybe even potentially a 1st overall pick. Tuesday, May 5th. Circle that date in your calendar, Leafs fans. That is the NHL Draft Lottery, a day that very well could dictate whether the Maple Leafs will add a foundational piece or have to give the pick away.
There are some good pieces there, and you look at the New York Islanders, and no one was expecting that kind of jump, and the player they got, who will probably be with the Rookie of the Year this year, and made a major shift in their organization.
I think Ranger fans got excited about that little segment from Sean. First 2 times he hit the simulator, came up New York Rangers. It's amazing how it's changed, that it's almost difficult for the team that finishes dead last to get the 1st pick, and maybe that's just the way it should be. Domi to the line and offside, as the Leafs now with 23 seconds of power play time remaining in the carryover from late in the 1st period.
And you don't have to go far back to Kako and then Lafreniere. I mean, the Rangers have done very well in the lottery over the years in getting the high picks, for sure. And you look at where they are right now, and it's a frustrating time for Ranger fans as well.
You're right, though, Gary. All the scouting results we've had is the top 5-6 players are really going to be significant players in the NHL, and it's a lot deeper than just that. A strong draft expected. Here's a chance. Tavares loads it up, and that got blocked. And shaking the hand as Paulo has glanced off his glove. Matt Paulo sending it around far side. Nylander on that. Needs 1 goal for 30. Needs 1 assist for 50. And came into the game on an 82-game pace of 99.9 points. And Nylander dumps that out. He's had some heavy minutes of late. Playing over 20 with regularity down the stretch. Tried to get that across. Here's Quillen in, fires, and he missed the target, and that will boomerang back into the Leaf zone.
He didn't miss it by much. A nice use of the defenseman as a screen. He pulled the trigger right beside his shin pad, and that just missed the far post by a little bit.
Wonder how much the confidence level rises after finally clicking for your first NHL goal. Batherson in. That shot blocked by Benoit. Quillen up ahead for Pezzetta.
What a huge moment in your career, in your life, right? I mean, you put so much time into this, and it's not a straight road to get where you're going. It's crooked and it's arduous, and you get there and finally you get that first goal, it means a lot. You'll have that puck somewhere in your family. It will sit on a shelf somewhere where everyone can see it. There you see him using the defenseman as a screen. Good smart play by him. Just as we look at Cullen's first goal, and a drive to the net by Lorentz. He throws it across, and you're driving to the net, and you're in the right place at the right time, and you get rewarded for it. I can't imagine the feeling he had there, and his family, and the people that helped him get where he has gotten in his career.
Well, it took to game 22, and you talk about not a straight line. His very first NHL game was in this building, and it did not go beyond the first period because of a collision with Nick Cousins. So he had to battle back off that. Here, maybe an odd man rush, but the pass picked off, and Machelli turns the other way. Here's Matias Machelli across, and that bounces over the stick to Lorentz. Fired around and up to center. Craig was out there. Stetcher watching him. They continue to battle for the puck, and Riley back. Morgan Riley up for Hames. Bumped that back, and over the line comes Machelli with Lorentz going to the net, and that pass broken up, and Gilbert strides back. Unable to connect there with Hodgson, and it's rolled back into the Ottawa zone. Reimer sent it around. Gilbert played it ahead, and now here comes Hodgson. Dylan Cousins drives the lane. Across it comes, and Hildeby with the stop. Cousins on the doorstep. Lassie Thompson back in his own zone. Around it goes for Hodgson. Can't clear, kept in by McCabe. Went off the skate of Nyes. Nick Cousins across, and Lassie Thompson heads in. Fires that on goal. Jake McCabe for Benoit. Tavares unable to corral that, and it's fired back into the corner. McCabe for Nyes. Benoit's on the move. An overtime winner last year in the playoffs. Actually set up an overtime goal as well in the series against Ottawa. Here's Nylander in and a backhand. In a little too deep. Kicks it back onto his stick. Back in behind the net, Tavares. Cowan trying to make himself available. Cycles back for Tavares. Watched by Zub, and it's forced out as Fogle dumps it in center ice. On it now is Zetterlund from long range. That hit the stanchion, came back towards the side of the net. William Villeneuve. A lead feed and a good one. Here's Cowan, and Reimer's going to hold on to that.
Well, a couple of chances on the rush. The first one, Hodgson's going to take the puck outside, and Dylan Cousins is going to drive to the net, and he can't get the puck to Cousins, so he makes the right play. He waits to see the support coming. Robertson really doesn't pick up Spence, who's coming into the zone, and Spence just pulls the trigger on this. It goes through a bit of traffic. Nice save by Hildeby. And how about that long pass right there onto the tape? And the blast from Cowan. Good stretch pass from Villeneuve. It's one of those timing passes where you got to loft it into the air. It can't be a hard pass, but it's got to land at the right time. And he skated right into it.
Morgan Riley in around behind the net. Troy Stetcher a shot. Reimer turns that away. Matias Machelli on it. Back to the line. That's easy picking for Reimer.
Jackpot City Casino. This is what excitement is made of.
Jake Batherson, the goal scorer for Ottawa. Now one off the team lead. Tim Stützle sitting out game 82 has 34. And Batherson with a goal here tonight. And is finishing strong. 6 and 11 for Drake Batherson to finish the season. At least 6 and 11 so far.
Well, a lot of things are falling into place at the right time for Ottawa, not just since the Olympic break, but just over the last 4 or 5 games. You know, you look at, we talked about their fourth line is really playing well, which is a great sign. They're getting healthy, especially on the back end. They're sitting guys out now to make sure their injuries are fully healed, so they hope to hit the ground running. And their goaltending has been the best it's been all year.
Thomas Chabot, quick return, unbelievable. And that's great news for the Senators. What, 2-3 weeks ahead of schedule?
Well, when you saw the injury, when you think when you break your arm in a place like that, you think, wow, that's going to take quite a bit of time to heal. And at least 4 to 6 weeks, you would think, right? It's amazing how quick these guys heal.
Pass broken up at center, and here's Bullet back into Ottawa territory, around for Torberg, and a pass for Benoit. He just missed. And that puck ends up onto the screen and out of play. 6:17 into the second period at Canadian Tire Center, where the home team has a 1-goal lead.
The Stanley Cup Playoffs Bracket Challenge presented by Expedia is back. Register now to make your picks. Once seats are set, you could claim the ultimate prize. Sign up today at nhl.com/bracket.
Subway Cyber Sub Days are here, so we've baked up a fresh deal. Buy 1 footlong, get 1 free with $0 delivery fee. That's right, but don't wait. This offer ends April 26th. Use the code to save on this Subway digital exclusive.
When money's personal, your bank should be too. RBC is built for real life with 150 years of proven performance to help make your next idea happen. Because your money isn't the whole story. You are. Whoa.
The Chevy Equinox is more than an SUV. It's your chance to give back. And your safety check.
Whoa.
All at an incredible value. It's more than an SUV. It's your Equinox.
Lease a 2026 Chevrolet Equinox. Plus, eligible Costco executive members receive a $1,200 bonus or $1,000 for non-executive members.
Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
The Heart and Stroke Lottery is back with incredible 1 to 2 odds of winning. Dream big with the $1 million grand prize, plus vacations, cars, and more. Win amazing prizes. Help save lives. Hurry, the $50,000 loyalty deadline is May 1st.
When cravings call, Edo is the answer. Honor the crave, Edo Japan.
It's game 82 for the Leafs, but game 4 of Luke Haim's NHL career and first NHL game here in his hometown of Ottawa. What a thrill. He played his minor hockey with the West End Wolverines, played some junior hockey here. A ton of family and friends. He has his parents in the building. The Ottawa natives wearing Toronto Maple Leafs hat. Of course, it's family first. Luke talked today saying he probably had about 10 or 15 family here.
West Ender, like myself.
And Villeneuve trying to bounce it through. Asked him earlier today if he was a Leaf or Senator fan. He came to a lot of games when these two teams were playing. He said his favorite players were Austin Matthews, and then went on to list a bunch of Senators from Daniel Alfredson, Chris Phillips, Danny Heatley, and Craig Anderson. So I think we know who he cheered for a little bit more.
Yeah, good answer. How exciting is that for him,
Well, you're from the West End. Did you see a little bit of him coming up?
Well, I didn't see it. No, I did not see him. But I grew up in the West End and played in the West End as well. And I know exactly where I played in Gloucester for the Gloucester Rangers in the Central Junior League. He played out in Rockland. So familiar, similar paths, and it's a nice path to take. It was a lot of fun growing up here playing minor hockey, and a lot of good hockey in the Ottawa area.
Jake McCabe at center. Torberg comes back to help out. Richmond Hill product. And now Benoit. Bank pass that Bullet redirects into the Ottawa zone. Leafs won the first meeting this year, 7-5. They chased Linus Ullmark early. The Senators have won the previous 2 games, both by the same score of 5-2. Halliday sends it in. Robertson kicks that, gets it back from Stetcher. Pinballs around here. Domi can't come up with it. And Robertson will regroup it once again. Stetcher out to center, off the glove with Zoom. Domi putting pressure on him. Little scrambly, and now Giroux gets control. Here's Halliday. Back it goes to the line. Across for Thompson. Off the stick of Hildeby. Into the corner. Stetcher fencing along with Patterson. Knocked free by Halliday to Zub, who scored his first NHL goal against Toronto. It'll be Halliday handing it off. Zub back on it through traffic, and Hildeby's got that with Patterson on the porch.
Tylenol Complete relieves cold, cough, and flu symptoms. Get relief like a pro with Tylenol, the official cold relief partner of the NHL.
Creating offense from the backside is going to be imperative in the playoffs, and Ottawa's got some really good blue liners. When you look at the offense they have, you don't put Zub at the top 2 or 3 offensive threats, but he's done a nice job of moving around, losing himself in the offensive zone. He left the blue line there, moved down towards the hash marks, opened up some room for Halliday to come up high, and then he opens himself back up to get the puck and eventually gets the shot on net. You've got to be accessible to your forward line mates in order to help them out from the back end, and Ottawa's got some really good mobility and some good production coming from their backside.
One of those offensive threats off tonight. Zub back in action. He played 26-28 in New Jersey, so he's carried a heavy load in the absence of some of the other regulars.
Yeah, and Spence has been marvelous. I mean, he has really stepped in, and when they really needed someone to step up from the depth chart and take over someone in a higher spot, both those guys really stepped up and did the job. Maybe you're not going to have the offensive production from them that you get from those guys, but you're getting the minutes. They're playing those heavier minutes, and they're absorbing those minutes so other guys don't have to, and they're doing a good job at it. And I think that's a big reason why they've had that stretch run here at the end that they've had with the injuries they've had.
Stars won that face-off, but now it's Gilbert lofting it out to center. It bounces past Ekman-Larsson. Vogel tried to catch up to it. Pinto, and now a giveaway, and here's Vogel for Pinto. Pinto was out for that defensive zone face-off, but stays out, and here he is going to the net, centering play, and Nylander breaks that up and sends it back down. And now Pinto does go off. Gilbert up there by Cowan.
I think he might have just toe-picked.
Okay, there's no call on the play.
He changed his mind, I think, where he was going to cut right-left, and he toe-picked.
Allen goes to the front of the net, but that broken up, and away goes Giroux. Trying to shift gears on Rourke and Riley. Shoots me that Zetterlund, and Riley recovers.
Zetterlund's been everywhere in this game. Good stick there on Riley, and he's had the puck a lot.
And Paolo bumped by Quillen. That hops over the stick of Halliday, back down into the leak zone. Rourke and Riley back there. McKean sends it ahead, and that came out, back in. Offside, just past the midway mark, second period, and no trip at all. It was a toe pick from Gilbert.
If people call good gossip juicy, and Simply Spiked lemonade is made with real fruit juice, why not crack open a can and tell us about your sister's boyfriend's personal trainer? Simply Spiked. It's getting juicy.
And the winner of this year's science fair is Pizza Pizza! For the new creamy garlic volcano dipper. With its molten core of creamy garlic dip. Only at Pizza Pizza.
Tylenol Complete relieves cold, cough, and flu symptoms like a pro. It's like having NHL superstar Nathan McKinnon assisting you through your cold symptoms. Tylenol Complete relieves your worst cold, cough, and flu symptoms. Get relief like a pro.
We're here for our convertible.
How about an SUV?
Want to get out of here?
Where are those trucks?
We're right here.
Whatever it is, we're here for it.
That swordfish won me the tournament.
I once had an 8-leg parlay. An octopus, if you will. Came down to a game in Detroit. The team came out hot, and yet they capsized late. Oh, not to worry. With Bet365 early payout, being up 3 goals is all you need to sail into the sunset, my boys.
Get paid out early with Bet365.
Tonight's Complete Player brought to you by Tylenol, the official cold relief partner of the NHL.
Well, you can argue that Fabian Zetterlund dressed to success here, coming in with the nice sweater on. But he has been really flying around the ice. He's a very good skater. He's got good hands, and he's cut off a number of passes and created some offense out of it. And he's got in on the forecheck. He's made life difficult on the forecheck for the Leafs, getting into the zone quickly. That fourth line, and we've talked about it a few times, with Foegele, picking up Foegele, the size and speed on the wing for him. He's a dogging the puck kind of guy. Zetterlund's a dogging the puck kind of guy. And then you got Eller in the middle, who's a really smart player, and he knows how to play that 200-foot game, and he'll distribute the puck to those guys. So that's a real good fourth line heading into the playoffs.
Zetterlund with 4 goals in his last 4 games. Forsberg taken into the boards by Gregg. And we've got a penalty, and it looks like Ridley Gregg.
Yeah, hanging on a little too much in the corner on Twerberg, and I think it was just a little much. He's got the arm around him. He grabs the back of the sweater there. I'm not sure if that's where they made the call or not, but his hand seems to go up there. Maybe he was just thinking about it and decided, yeah, I better call it. But the sweater grab and then the arm on him, and Travis Green thinks it's a bit of a weak call. Nonetheless, the Leafs will head on the power play.
Second power play, Leafs did not register a shot on their first.
You know, it's funny, it's a weird thing to say, but I find I've liked Zetterlund on the 3rd and 4th line more than I like him when he plays on the top 2 lines. It's a weird thing, because you know you're playing with stronger players on the top 2 lines or whatever, and you're in different situations, but I find he's better suited on the 3rd, 4th line. You get more out of him. Not that you don't enjoy the depth if you need him with injuries. You can't move him up there.
A lot of options with him.
Yeah.
And Paolo off the boards, kept in at the line by Tavares. Leafs looking to tie the game with the man advantage. Nylander tied up there, and Sue will send it back up. Power play brought to by Royale, Tiger Towel, Paper Towel. Power through tough messes, and so much more. Team fake changes as Ekman Larson back. Just about a minute gone as the second power play unit with Domi, Michelli, Robertson. Luke King's going to get a turn on this power play. Along the boards, Cousins battling for it. Jordan Spence there. Robertson in the midst of the fray. And the puck knocked loose, maybe a 2-on-1. Here's Cousins with Pinto. And Hildeby comes across. Luke Haynes will start back the other way now. Domi takes over. 3-on-2 on the counterattack. Haynes looking around to the near side for Robertson. At the line, Riley. Midpoint and across. Michelli for Domi. Haynes goes to the front of the net. Robertson in the bumper spot. It'll be Max Domi. Morgan Riley firing it, turned aside by Reimer. And out of play with a dozen seconds left.
A short-handed opportunity for the Senators. They win a battle on the boards, and Michelli gets caught trying to reach up and grab it. Cousins is off to the races. Riley's going to cut him off, and Michelli's going to try to catch Pinto, but Pinto's too quick for him, and that just shows you the skating prowess of Pinto, who gets to that puck. Cousins lays in front of him, but Hildeby does a really good job. He's got to come from far post, way over, because he was out there for Cousins, and make that save on Pinto.
Who is kind of an ideal third line center too, isn't he?
Yeah. Come out of college, he was the best offensive player and the best defensive player in the same year. This is a guy who can play that 200-foot game that we talk about. And, you know, a lot of qualities of a Mike Fisher that played here for many years and a crowd favorite. You know, this guy, they love this guy here, and he plays the game the right way, and he's always on the right side of the puck, and he's the type of player you want to see get into the playoffs. He's going to be a real strong playoff player for the Ottawa Senators.
Personal best, 23 goals. Third time he's hit 20. Here's the steal. Easton Cowan, and Reimer just got enough of that. Good chance for Cowan. Gets it again. Tried to give it back to Tavares. William Nylander forced to the line, but kept it in. And now heads downhill. Turns back Pounded there by Fogle. Cowan tips. Tavares in front, and nobody there as Tavares didn't have a good position to shoot. Tried to go back door.
I think he was hoping that Cowan was still there. But Cowan had kind of vacated below the goal line behind the net. And sometimes better to stay out in front. We see that so often, that blind backhand pass in through the slot area. There was no one there for it.
Back in comes Ottawa. Chance, and Drew can't handle the pass. It'll be Thompson. That redirected back in front. Quillen took it away and then lost it. And that shot just went wide. Pezzetta can't clear, kept in by Thompson. Batherson to Drew. And here's the shot, and Hildeby will close that down. So the Senators continue to lead. Easton Cowan with a glorious chance to tie it.
When you've been in Canada for 240 years, you get around. Because it doesn't matter what it's in. It matters where it's from. Molson, everyone in.
It's normal to wonder about things. Is it the right time to start a business? To buy a house? Start a family? Honestly, no. Because it's never the right time. That's why we should do what we want right now.
Whoa, Grandpa. I was just asking if it's the right time to start my lawn mowing business.
It's the right time.
Congratulations, Ryan. People are going to be ordering your new maple butter glazed donut forever.
Pretty good, huh?
So you digitally preserved your conscience just so you could eternally brag?
No. Yes.
My maple butter glazed donut only at Tim's.
Woo! It's finally spring! Let's get these winter tires off now! Don't need this, or these, and I don't need this.
Get those winter tires off now. Not weeks from now like the other guys.
Sounds like Ojo time. Feel the fun with all the latest slots and live casino games with no wagering requirements. Groovy.
Tonight we've talked a lot about the Maple Leafs draft pick, and if you want to see the importance of what a high first-round pick can do to your team, look no further than the Ottawa Senators and that guy right there. Tim Stützle watches on from above, taken 3rd overall in 2020 and ranks 1st in the NHL in just about every offensive category. 2020 was a huge draft. 2 picks later, they took Jake Sanderson, they took Ridley Gregg at the end of the first, Tyler Clevin. Build through the drafts is what the Ottawa Senators have done, guys.
Have they ever? And Jake Sanderson, I mean, we know Stützle has been fabulous. Jake Sanderson, over the last 4 or 5 games that he's come back and played, he's been a machine. I mean, he's really been good all over.
14 goals from the back line for Sanderson. 6 points in his last 4 games. Does he get Norris Trophy votes, Gary?
I think he does. I don't think he's a winner yet. I think he will win it at some point. I do believe that. You know, I think Werenski is going to be right there. I think Seider in Detroit's going to get. I think there's a lot of good defensemen this year. Makar, of course, right? I mean, Makar is going to get votes, but
it is a tough vote this year
for sure. I mean, and Lane Hudson in Montreal, I'm sure will get some votes. And there's just so many defensemen that have had wonderful seasons this year.
Ames back in his own zone.
And Sanderson is one of them. I mean, he's had a fantastic year.
Here's Steven Lorentz in. Lorentz centers. Steered across the front of the Ottawa net. Shoveled back towards Hames. He's tracked there by Gilbert. Taken to the boards. And Nick Cousins trying to spin off a check. Flipped back to the Leaf line. Knocked down by McCabe. Pinto comes over the boards for Ottawa. Gilbert back behind his net. Shots 21-11 Ottawa. The Maple Leafs have been outshot 61 times this year. There's Cousins working his way in. Nick Cousins, he's nailed by Domi. Good hit. Watson around. Lassie Thompson moves up. Knies will spin it to Domi, maybe a 2-on-1. Here's Max Domi in. Holds, and now a backhand stop by Reimer. Domi went through the options. Warden Woodson looked like on that rush chance. Stetcher at the line. Pass Domi in behind the net. Robertson picks it up. Here's Domi with a backhand, doesn't get to the net. Vogel around and kept in again by Robertson. He's checked and Hodgson out through center. Red line and in. Swung around and back out to center. Tavares with a tip to play it inside the line, and there is Zetterlund. Count on him. Cowan latching on, and it comes to Nylander, and he did latch. Holding is going to be the call against Easton Cowan.
Well, an opportunity to tie the game up. It was Lassie Thompson down low on the pinch, and Ottawa gets caught changing the line at the same time. And Domi comes down on the 2-on-1. Although he can't get the puck across, he changes his mind a number of times, but that was going in. That backhand, I believe, was going into the net if not for the glove save of Reimer. As we look at Zetterlund coming around the back of the net, Cowan, once you get that loose arm around your opponent's body, like right there, coming around in the corner, the referee's going to call that every time. And Ottawa, with already a power play goal tonight, will go to work with 3:21 left here in the second period.
1-for-1, but the Leafs get a quick clear with just over 3 minutes left in this second period. Anderson's 13th on the power play, the only scoring so far. And now Shane Pinto across. Dylan Cousins has 13 power play goals. He's up in it, and Jacob Pullen turns back with Steven Lorentz. 2 short-handed goals on the year for Lorentz. He's also registered 5 hits in the game. Here's Cousins sending that across. Claude Giroux back to Dylan Cousins. And that just missed. Giroux trying to one-hand that. Stetcher lost his stick. Ames behind the net, gets penalty kill time here. So we've seen the youngster at the power play and on the kill here in the second period. Sprawling play by Stetcher. And Troy Stetcher dumped along the boards. An outlet here, and Lorentz has time, and he'll clear.
Nice play by Ames there. You know, he doesn't panic. He gets the puck on the half wall. He doesn't try to push it up the wall when he can't get it out. He puts it into the middle to Lorentz, and down the ice it goes.
Jordan Spence kicks it back. Ridley Gregg's on the move. Warren Vogel on this left side. Second power play unit is out. Zetterlund, Halliday, and now Thompson across. Here's Vogel. Lassie Thompson shooting, and Hildeby's got that.
Well, good shot to the net by Thompson. Why not take the shot? Look at Stetcher battling in the corner. As he goes down, Pinto picks it up, and watch Ames right here. If I throw it up the wall, Cousins is going to get it. Instead of battling there, he puts it right in the middle of the ice. It's a soft, quiet place to put the puck. He knows he has support there. I'm sure Lorentz is talking to him, and it's just a good, smart play, and it helps your team exit the zone on the PK.
25 seconds left in the Cowan penalty. 2 shots on the power play. Here's Vogel. Send that across, and it's Halliday. Gregg in front, and that's healed wide by Zetterlund. Zetterlund looking for his first goal against Toronto. Vogel's got one. Warren Vogel, power play goal, and it's 2-0 Ottawa.
Over the last 6 games, this power play is over 50%. They have been on a pretty good heater. The first goal was a nice tip from Batherson. This one here was just a real bullet by Vogel. I mean, good strong wrist. He's going to roll off the top of the circle here and get this puck back from Thompson as he's rolling kind of into the middle of the ice, which opens up a shooting lane for him. And this is just a real solid shot that he fires down low and catches Hildeby on the far side. I mean, it's just a really well-placed shot. You got Gregg in front, you got McCabe in front, so maybe Hildeby doesn't get an eye on it. But nice shot by Vogel, and another power play goal for the Sens.
So Warren Vogel has 3 goals against the Maple Leafs on the year, 14th of the season, and 2 for 2 On the power play, been a difference in the game so far. As Ottawa is now up to 9 of their last 17 with a man advantage. Spence out at center ice, and now it's Nick Cousins. He'll dump it down into the Leaf zone, go after it. Trying to get a hit on Ekman Larson, who sidestepped it and works him over a little bit. Ekman Larson and Hodgson. Villeneuve works the boards up ahead, and Nylander gets a stick on it, gets knocked down by Eller. Board battle, and it comes loose. Here's Hodgson across. Zoom in front. That's tipped. Toby down, and he reels it back in to cover up.
Well, when you don't have a play, the one thing you don't want to do is deposit the puck into the middle of the ice unless you're really ripping it out of the zone. So when you throw it into the middle, it creates a turnover like right there. And that's just a tough spot. Ottawa jumps all over it. Hodgson to Zub, and then it's off on its way to the net.
Skip forward.
And then you got a battle at the net that Hildeby has to take this shot and cover it up. You got good traffic by Cousins and Eller there. Eller tries to kick it to Cousins. But all because instead of eating the puck on the wall, and sometimes you're better just to eat it and keep the puck there where you can battle for it and get some help from your teammates. Instead, you throw it into the middle and it results in a scoring chance and a penalty.
So Ekman Larson in the box, cross-checking the call. And for the third time tonight, Ottawa goes on the power play, looking to stay at 100% with a man advantage. Giroux bounce it in front, knocked away, and Stetcher plays it to the boards, backhanded onto the stick of Spence. Giroux winds up, and Hildeby stops that as the horn sounds to end the second period. So Warren Foegele adds to the lead for Ottawa. A power play goal in the first by Batherson, a power play goal in the second by Foegele. And the shot's now 28-11 through 2 here in the nation's capital. 2-0 as we send it for our second intermission. Here again is David Amber.
It's time now for Performance That Delivers, brought to you by Instacart. Get groceries just how you like, delivered in as fast as 60 minutes. The Senators with a 2-0 lead after 40 minutes, thanks to the play of James Reimer. He hasn't been tested a ton by the Maple Leafs, but when he has delivered. And I apologize to Sens in advance because I'm going to say it. He's on the verge of a shutout, but I say that for a good reason. It's timely because the only time the Senators have recorded a shutout in a season finale, we got to go way back in time. April 12th, 1997. Ron Tugnut shut out the Buffalo Sabres 1-0, and it was a huge win for multiple reasons. Tugnut's father had just died, and immediately following the win, he pointed up to the rafters to honor his father. It became an iconic image of Tugnut. The win also propelled the Sens to their first playoff berth, guys.
Should we send all emails to Sean McKenzie if the Leafs score? Ottawa starts this third period on the power play. Last time they had 2 power play goals in a game against Toronto was October 10th, 2015. And Claude Giroux down low. Batherson looking for Pinto. Can't pull the trigger. Spence keeps it alive for Cousins. Taken to the boards by Lorentz. A loose puck for Nyes, and he'll clear. Thompson kicks it back. 45 seconds of power play time left. Here's Dylan Cousins. Back to the line. Back to Cousins. Off a skate, ricocheted right to Batherson. And now it's Morgan Riley sending it the length of the ice.
If I'm Lassie Thompson, I tee that up. I mean, there's a lane right down the middle of the ice with good traffic in front, and he can really rip it. So I would have teed that one up.
Gonna try and go coast to coast. Can't break through against McCabe. Sent to the line, kept in by Gregg. Here's Gregg with a shot, and Hildeby gets a piece of that. Lorentz unable to clear it. Halliday's got the puck. Here's Halliday working in. Centerland with a shot right on. And Lorentz will roll it back. Dennis Hildeby's been good in this game. 1 power play shot that time for Ottawa now 2 for 3. Villeneuve back in his own zone. Riley up ahead. Easton Cowan's pass hit Nick Cousins. Cowan gets it back. Nylander breaking. Nylander, and he sent that high. Hodson lost it. Tavares has got it. Here's Tavares rolling it wide. Across comes Nick Cousins. Behind the net court. Cameron Crotty, the former Rockville Brave. It's Riley sending it big wide. Nylander a shot. And James Reimer's got that.
Well, Ottawa's done a nice job of using the slot area. They've had a number of shots from there, and Hildeby's been really good at making the saves here. As another one, Halliday throws it out to Zetterlund, and he gets a pretty good rip at it. And then not to be outdone, coming back the other way, Nylander looks to go 5-hole. You can see the puck kind of rattling around in the air, but Reimer squeezes it off there between his legs and shuts it down.
Off the draw. Sent down the ice, and Cousins gets on it first. Here's Dylan Cousins, and that went off Ekman Larsson's stick and almost over the shoulder of Hildeby. Good burst by Cousins. Now into the slot. Comes back to the line. Dennis Gilbert sends it in behind the net. Stepping up, spins it, and redirected a rebound chance, and McDermott is thwarted there by Hildeby. Along the boards. Domi trying to pry it out of there with Nyes. Goes to Batherson. Hot shot up high, and that'll snap one of the snaps on the mask of Dennis Hildeby, who gets some help from Eric Furlan.
Well, already 30 shots on Hildeby, and a lot of good quality ones, as this mask might need to get to the bench and get a fix on. Cousins tries to drive to the net, but Oliver Ekman-Larsson's poke checks this puck almost into the top corner of the net on Hildeby, and then the puck rotates right back out to the net, and McDermott does a real nice job of just opening up the blade and deflecting that puck. As we look at the puck that came from Batherson, high and hard, hit him on the left side of the mask, and that snap came undone. Referee was trying to get it snapped back on. It looked like, I thought it might have been broken, but he's got it secured.
We believe unofficially Joseph Woll as the league lead in that department. It has happened with great frequency in the last month or so for Woll. 4 times in one game against the St. Louis Blues. Here's Giroux. Tracked there by Quillen. Back to the line. Halliday unable to take that pass. McKee, an outlet, Pezzetta, and now Benoit. Here's Forsberg, maybe a chance, and can't get the shot away against Sioux. Forsberg sends it back to the line, and that deflected off Batherson, who nearly got loose. Jake McCabe in his own zone. Idling as both teams make changes.
You look at the Ottawa Senators, and you look at the amount of volume of pucks they get to the net. Like I said, they're already over 30 shots.
Michelli. Reimer with the blocker stop there. Pinto. Morgan Riley got a stick on that. There's Crotty moving up, and he shot right on Hildeby. Bouncing rebound into the high slot for Cousins. Sends it back Hildeby's way, and he'll hold on.
James Wan and Blumhouse bring you a new terrifying horror in Lee Cronin's The Mummy. In theaters, April 17th.
And the reason why I bring that up, CC, is because you know who else puts a large volume of pucks at the net?
Yes.
Carolina Hurricanes.
They do.
And that's who they're going to be playing. Both these teams, the Carolina Hurricanes and the Senators, excellent in the face-off circles. Carolina's good. Ottawa's been a bit better this year. And there's another couple of similarities between these two teams who are going to hit the ground running in the Stanley Cup playoffs in the first round.
This weekend, date still not officially determined. We should underscore that. No official word when the series begins, other than it will be this weekend.
There's nothing worse than the wait to get to game one. I mean, I remember it every spring. You're just waiting to get game one started. You can't wait to get on the ice. It's just a completely different animal than the regular season. And you can't get enough of it. You can't wait for it to start.
Best time of the year. Here comes Domi. Max Domi's in. Up across Cowan. In centers. And it'll be deflected back to Benoit. And Nylander. Domi to Benoit. And that's a glove stop by Reimer.
Well, a lot of movement around the zone, but I just think trying to get a little too pretty, get pucks to the net, get traffic to the net. They haven't had a lot of traffic in front of Reimer. They had a lot of stuff coming from the perimeter, like that shot there from Benoit. It's kind of a frisbee, an easy thing to catch for Reimer. You know, the easiest thing to do is kind of stay on the perimeter. You've got to get on the inside and battle in those dirty zones to get in some screens, tips, rebounds, anything.
Lassie Thompson tried to flip it away and gave it away, but Eller there to help out, get it out. Fogle, who has one of the goals, tied up at center ice. And now regroup in the Ottawa zone, up off Fogle, and that high into the Leaf zone. After it's Zetterlund and Eller. Watched by Stetcher as Eller. Back to line, put it in front off the stick to Morgan Riley. Almost stolen by Eller. The other 89 comes up with a puck. Nick Robertson off the glass and out at center. Nyes can't come up with that and was trapped offside as Domi brings it in.
When you clear it out of the zone in the air to get it over Matt Paulo, you got to get it high. And that one, he even leapt up for it and he couldn't keep it in the zone as the Leafs are offside. Face-off will just come outside the blue line. And the other thing about this is the Senators now will enter the Metro Division. They are going to head into the Metropolitan Division. They'll start the playoffs against the first-place Carolina Hurricanes. And if they do find some success, they will play the winner of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Philadelphia Flyers. So they will not join their Atlantic Division if they were fortunate to get to the conference finals.
They were 15-3-5 against the Metro. So they might just feel at home.
They were 1-2 against Carolina, but they were 5-0-1 against Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. So their record has been good in the Metro.
Leafs, by the way, were a dominant team in the Atlantic last year, but 7-14-4 this season.
That's really stung them. You know, it's the only division that they failed to be above 500 in. You know, all the other divisions they were around 500. When they played them, but their own division, as you mentioned, they fell far below.
Here's Ridley Gregg working against Ekman Larsson, swooping in behind the net. Gregg trying to feed back to Smits. That's off the skate and out to center. Gilbert backtracks for 7 minutes into the third period. And it remains 2-0 Ottawa. Power play goals by Drake Batherson and Warren Fogle. Up down by Hildeby for Benoit. Slices it up and finds Cowan. Turns it back. And Ekman Larsson trying to reverse that to Benoit. Taken away. Maybe a chance for Pinto. Hildeby got a piece of that. Here's Hudson. Back to the line for Thompson. And Nylander with a hit on Lassie Thompson, and now 88's away. Trying to flip it in for Cowan. Broken up by Pinto. Artem Zub to work. Zub works his way over the line. Deep just flips it in behind the net. Morgan Riley off the boards. And up ahead, maybe a 2-on-1. Here's Quillen with Nylander. Quillen's in. Loose in front. Scores! William Nylander's got his 30th. And the Leafs within one.
Well, you get a chance at one end. Hodgson to Pinto, and a nice save by Hildeby. And then you come the other way, and it's Nylander, and Hodgson back checks extremely hard. Does a great job of getting back. And it doesn't really pay off as Nylander's going to get his 30th goal for the 6th time in his career. There's the play to Pinto and the save off the right pad of Hildeby. And this is going to work its way up the ice here, and away they go. And a real nice job of Hodgson getting back and interfering really on top of the puck on Quillen, and then what happens after he grabs onto him is Quillen just lays it back out in the slot. And Nylander does a great job of staying with it. You know, it's one of those things where you think it's going in behind the net, but it comes back out in front. Crotty just doesn't advance up a little bit to step up on Nylander. He backs towards the net, and that gives Nylander a chance to poke that into the net for his 30th.
Not to throw anybody under the bus, but I don't think the play-by-play or the analyst between the benches said the word shutout.
Hey, I've been around long enough not to do that.
The Mac Jinx, it's 2-1.
Closed captioning.
And a family weekend. Truck Month is back.
Protecting a third period lead.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you're always striving to get better, and a one-goal game, and the playoffs are going to be littered with those. You got to figure out how to win them when you're playing well, and sometimes when you're not playing so well, you got to find a way to win them. So certainly going to be working on that here in Ottawa if you're the Ottawa Senators. There's going to be a lot of games in the playoffs where you're getting outplayed, but you find yourself with a one-goal lead, and you got to win those ones as well.
Ryan Torberg got a shot on goal. His first in the NHL. The puck played back to center and into the Ottawa zone. Winding it up is Gilbert. Here's Cousins. Slick move through center. Over the line for Gregg. That hits the back of Ekman-Larsson, swept across it at the line. Gilbert sent it in. Domi. His pass broken up by Gilbert, who fires it around. Jordan Spence moves up. Drops it off. Gregg was in behind. He whipped that high and almost gave Matthew Nyes a shave. Kept in by Gregg. Floating that wide with the clock ticking towards 10 minutes here in the third. Gilbert sends it in. Zub around for Pinto. And Thompson. Artem Zub up ahead. Taken there and rolled through. Hodgson. Nick Cousins in support. Back to the line. Zub had changed direction in front. Now Cowan in front of the net. Gets away and moves through center. Over the line, leaves it for Benoit. Sends that wide of the net. Recovered by Tavares. John Tavares against a couple of Senators. It comes back to McCabe. Across for Benoit. Now Nylander checked and flipped away by Pinto. Nick Cousins picks off a pass. Can't sneak through against Jake McCabe. Benoit stretching it out at center. That's broken up by Crotty. And the former captain of the Iowa Wild sends it back in, but from his side of center, that's an icy call against Ottawa.
They didn't just start businesses, they changed the game. With Intuit QuickBooks, they get a complete view, all in one platform. It's a game plan.
Pucks you can't see and pucks that change directions. It's a nightmare for a goaltender. Watch this thing change directions. Less than 5-10 feet out in front of Hildeby. That is a fantastic left toe save by the goaltender.
This on the Leaf scoring play. Nylander's 30th. Quillen with an assist, as well as Easton Cowan, who has 29 points on his rookie season. So down to 8:32 remaining here in the third. Now a one-goal game.
Wendy's new saucy strips are
Network.
Is on there?
So you made that.
Around the net and fool an NHL goaltender, and Batherson is really good at it. He's got great hand-eye coordination. He's got good imagination and creativity around the net, and that's led to 33 goals, including 13 of them on the power play.
Face off in the Ottawa zone, won by Ridley Gregg. Ottawa's won 55% of the draws tonight. They came in tied with the New York Rangers for top spot in face-offs. The Leafs were 0.2% back, third. We'll check in the final break how the Rangers did tonight. Looks like Ottawa might have the best face-off team. Here's Nylander behind the net. William Nylander out at center, and that off a stick of Cousins, who chased after Nylander. Just reacted in the nick of time, or Cousins might have been away.
Well, you can't really downplay how important winning faceoffs is in the postseason. I mean, it is imperative. Offensive zone to create chances, and the defensive zone to get pucks out of your end quickly. Get possession, man. Playing with possession. Have the other team chasing 55% of the time or more. I like it.
And when you really need one, it's nice to have Claude Giroux on the ice. Giroux 67.8% in the defensive zone this year. Number 1 in the NHL. And Giroux with the puck here. That bounced on Halliday. Michelli for Toronto. Lawrence was heading off, and he scoops a backhand into Ottawa territory. Under 7 to play. Here's a lead feed, and Hayden Hodgson's in. Hodgson rolls it through. Pinto after that. He's checked. Riley will send it back to center. Pass off the stick of Hodgson, and Riley bouncing it back. Stetcher around for Robertson. An outlet here for Domi. Matthew Nyes with him. Here's Nyes working in. Nyes all the way, and Rager with the stop as Hodgson and Stetcher were having a long discussion at the other end. And it turned into like 4-on-4 in the Ottawa zone.
Well, and Gilbert lost his stick, and he went by the bench, and no one was paying attention, and he had to enter the play back with no twig in his hands. As you look at the hit there from Hodgson on Riley, and what the Leafs don't like is in a game where they feel like this is a nothing game, you don't need to be running people, and out on the bench comes Stetcher, and he takes a poke at Hodgson for that, and Ekman Larsson got involved with him as well. And at the end of the day, it was Nyes going to the net, and there you see Gilbert with no stick in his hand, and he went right by me and the bench screaming and yelling, and no one gave him one. It's an empty feeling when you come up empty when you need a twig. And that's the one thing we haven't seen in this game, no. CC. There hasn't been any cheap shots or nobody taking runs at anybody. It's one of those, like, let a sleeping dog lie, and for the Sens, let's get out of here without getting any injuries or anybody taking on anything that we don't need. I didn't think the hit was that outrageous. You didn't really get much of a piece of him, and it probably sounded worse than it was.
Under different circumstances, we might have had a full penalty box after the last encounter, but...
Well, the Leafs are sensitive, right? Yep. There's a lot of stuff that they've been criticized for this year with Matthews and all of that, so they're a sensitive team, so when something like that happens, you know they're going to react. And right on top of it, and they saw a couple players come to Riley's defense right away. And again, with 6 minutes to go in a nothing game, you don't want to see anyone taking a run at anybody. But I mean, the only game on the docket tonight that has a statistical importance is coming up later, right? The Vegas-Seattle game, and that division basically is going to be unraveled in the next 24 hours as the games tomorrow night will really put everything into place.
The record, the hits are 25-24.
Well, that's generous. That's generous, too. I don't know if I could count 48 hits.
Yeah, no, unless you're counting by twos. Hildeby plays that away. Villeneuve for Ekman Larsson with under 5.5 to go. Michelli through center. Matias Michelli kicked it back onto his stick, turned back. Here's Benoit right on. Rebound. And Lawrence Unable to catch that. Haynes looking to center. And away goes Hodgson. Over the line is Hodgson. Benoit stepped up on him, and well, those two might go. That shot blocked en route. And after the puck is Michelli. Digging on the forecheck. Hodgson sends it out to center. Cousins can't reach that. Play back to Riley. Nylander back on the ice. He has the lead goal. James Reimer stops it up behind his net. There's Cousins skating onto it. Nylander slows him up. Stetcher. Tavares. Up ahead, a good pass for Cowan. He'll dump it in. Nylander after it against Thompson. Around for Ridley Gray. He'll flip to center, and here's Dylan Cousins. Cousins sliding it through. Giroux, and Hildeby stopped that. Nice play by Cousins. From Larson to Nick Robertson. As Declan Larson had be playing for Sweden at the World Championships. He said too early for any decisions like that to be made. After he represented his country at the Olympics. Spits over the line. Zetterlund, a backhand. That is vacuumed up by Hildeby. Well, haven't been many big hits in the game, but Simon Benoit was looking for a Richter scale hit on Hudson. Dates and times. Face-off won by Ottawa. Jordan Spence trying to sift it through. Dylan Cousins has that out with Greg and Fogle. There's Warren Fogle. Tied up there by McCabe, who has been credited with a shot block, his 189th. So Jake McCabe will lead the NHL in that department this year. A chance in front, and it's sent wide. Fogle with another look, and now Greg along the boards, try to get it to Cousins, and tip back in on Hildeby.
Get Canada's most reliable internet with Rogers Xfinity.
Dylan Cousins, one of those big bodies that is so, beloved in the playoffs, in a playoff series, and all 82 games, and you can't discount that. 82 games. Remember, they traded Josh Norris for Cousins, and Josh Norris is a great player, but he had a lot of trouble staying healthy. He missed so much time. To get a guy that in that second slot that's playing 82 games for you, and the way he played this year, that's a big plus for the Ottawa Senators.
Here's Claude Giroux. Giroux in behind the net. Tracked by Haynes. The youngster against the gray beard of the Senators. And Lawrence dumps it back to the Ottawa line. Under 2.5 remaining. A Senator 2-1 lead. Back in they come. Batherson tried to touch that across for Giroux. Michelli will wind it up. Matthias Michelli turned back by Pinto. And now the Leafs will make a change. Michelli heads off. Easton Cowan's on. He'll send it in from the red line. And going to the bench is Hildeby. The extra attacker comes on for the Maple Leafs. Ekman Larson across. Nylander, who has the Toronto goal. Nice. Ekman Larson sends it to the net. It knocked out in front. And Jordan Spence after it. Puts it on the stick of Domi. But Domi mishandles. Now, it'll be Cowan across. And that goes off a stick. Domi fencing for it, but up with it is Fogle. He'll send it down the ice, wide of the cage. And icing called against Ottawa.
Well, here's those draws we're talking about. You got a 1-goal game, 1:20 to go. Goaltender pulled, and the Ottawa Senators, of course, the icing, so you cannot make a line change. So it's not like you can get your good face-off guy out there, right? But you do got Pinto. He's strong in the circle, so we'll see if he can pull this back.
Leafs have 2 6-on-5 goals on the year. Ottawa has surrendered 4. Tavares on the draw against Pinto, and Ottawa gets control and flip back out. Race for that, and Domi takes it away from Foegele. There's Easton Cowan sending it in. Reimer directing traffic as it slides to Giroux, and he'll flip it back to center with under a minute to go. Cousins, Artem Zub, empty net, and that one stopped. Knies with the save and a great lead feed for Tavares. Tavares stopped up inside the line by Spence. Loose for Zub. Here's Jordan Spence to the red line. He gets crunched there by Tavares. Nylander turns. Half minute to go. Knies works his way in. Steven Lorentz on the ice. Crashing in. Giroux around for Cousins. And Cousins to the line and out. Batherson can't find it. Tavares for Riley. 15 seconds left. Here's Matias Maccelli. Checked on the play. Puck cleared. Empty net. Dylan Cousins to Pinto. And back to Cousins to wrap up the season.
Well, the Ottawa Senators will head into the playoffs on a very positive winning note. James Reimer will get the win. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, in a close-played match, will solidify a top 5 pick in the draft, or protected pick, so to speak.
28th of the year for Cousins. And the Ottawa Senators are going to win their 44th of the year and will finish with 99 points on the season and get set to start a playoff series against the Carolina Hurricanes this weekend.
And it'll be a good one. There are a lot of teams out there that did not want to face the Ottawa Senators in the first round. They're sitting in the 8th and the last wild card spot, and there are many teams that are saying, man, I don't want to play this team because of the way they've played since the Olympic break and how they're playing defensively, offensively, and they've got a lot of guys that were injured that are coming back and are going to be healthy. They've rested a few guys down the last few games. It should be a crazy good series between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Ottawa Senators.
Couple power play goals in the game. Drake Batherson finishes with 33 on the season. Warren Foegele in the second period. William Nylander made it close in the third, but Cousins puts it away, and the Ottawa Senator fans get a chance to salute their team and right back as Ottawa finishes 44, 27, and 11 and takes the Battle of Ontario this season 3 games to 1. A Maple Leaf season ends in disappointment, and they finish 0-6-1 in the month of April. Stand by, Sportsnet Pacific viewers. We will take you to Seattle, Vegas. Everyone else going to Sportsnet Central, presented by KFC.